we are naming this episode The Good, the Bad, and the Sterling. I am your host, generic executioner pirate person. Above me is the lovely Miss Emma Frost. And above her is a man
I
who
am
can...
Jim fucking
There
Sterling's
you go.
son, and let me begin by starting with a poem. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious retro games of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly they came a bat flapping, as Arkham Knight came back strapping, crapping at the old Steam store. I am Jim fucking Sterling's son, and my glasses run red with the blood of Konami. Fuck Konami.
As well it should. Well, when I say we're not as dressed as we expected, the original plan, way back when I was apparently only paying attention at that moment, I thought Cece was going to be dressed as Doctor Who. And, she's allowed to change her mind, and apparently I wasn't paying attention when she did.
Yeah, I couldn't find my wig.
Well, that's fine. And so, because I thought, what a great idea, let's all just, go transgendered for the day, I decided I was going to be companion Donna Noble. I did go so far as to dress up with makeup, drag makeup and everything, had the wig on, had the scarf around my neck, had everything going on, and then no one was dressed like they were supposed to be.
Sorry.
So
That's nice theater, baby.
We just improvised and move on. Thank God I had a spare costume because that was getting hot, and this is hot too. But suffice to say, it was scary how much I looked like my sister. I don't know if that's worse for her than for me. I'm pretty sure it is worse for her because, to coin a drag queen phrase, I was a 3F drag queen, far from fishy. And I wasn't fooling nobody. But so we've got a lot of our topics, but first let's find out what's going on with you all. What's going on, guys?
Well, I do not have a lot of topics this week, and I probably won't next week because I have
Opera.
I have an opera coming up, and opening weekend is next weekend. So I need to. So I've been doing tech rehearsals and stuff, and I'm literally running from work to straight into wardrobe later this week. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. But no, it's great. I love doing operas and stuff. That's why I've chosen it, and I'm really looking forward to it. It just means that the rest of life kind of is gonna
Takes a back seat.
takes a back seat for just these 2 weeks.
We'll get by somehow, some way. Sterling, sir.
I continue my crusade against Konami. And digital homicide.
And how's your alter ego mouse doing?
Well, this week I have a job interview in the morning on Monday, and I was just informed that I might have to jump in an opera if the tenors they have cannot cut it, and that's all I can say about it. But I am very, very excited because it's one of my favorite operas in the whole wide world to perform, and so I don't want them to fail, but I'm secretly going, maybe just one night I can go in. Because I do have another opera lined up, but it's not my favorite opera.
Well, I think this other opera would also be a very good opportunity for you. So either way,
Yeah. Either way, I win.
Yeah.
I'm channeling the power of Jim Sterling. Thank God for Jim. Thank God for me,
Thank God for everybody. What the hell? As I sit here changing out my wig to something far more fashionable.
Your head wig. I put on some makeup.
There he goes again.
Turn on the 8-track.
You're not going to be happy until I sing that, and then you're going to be real unhappy.
Suddenly I'm Miss Beehive 1953.
Okay. Enough.
I'm just doing some musical background while you do your striptease.
I'm not doing a striptease. I'm just adding...
Your follicular striptease.
I've already tossed that. I'm just putting this nappy little scarf on my head. so it's not completely blinding up there. It's just sparkly. It's a sparkly scarf. Don't ask me why. It was there. Okay.
You're a
Happy
pirate.
day. Yeah.
Yar.
Yar.
You're an internet pirate.
He's a sparkly
Yar.
pirate. Pirate of the House Sparkly Poo.
Okay. So let's get on to our topics today. First up is one I came across. Five Nights at Freddy's World. We had all thought Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was going to be the end of this, and apparently Scott Crawford, I don't know how he found a megalodon to jump over, but he did. This is, I'm going to go ahead and let the, where'd it go? Oh, let's go.
The trailer.
I'm going to let the trailer just go while we're talking about this, but you think that a game series that has prided itself on jump scares and making you crap yourself and screaming and PewDiePie cowering in the corner and all that stuff would continue with that trend. Oh no.
Oh?
Oh no, no, no.
Oh?
As Scott put it, he has fallen in love with these characters to the point that he wants everyone to be able to enjoy them as he does. And that precludes necessarily a lot of jump scares. So...
Oh my god, he's made a dating sim.
No, he's made
Okay.
them cute. He has made a turn-based RPG style game with them, and I don't even know how I can't. It just melts my brain. This is perhaps more terrifying than watching, or
Why?
playing the actual game. But yeah, so. That is where he has gone with Five Nights at Freddy's World. And you can see all the list of characters there. Apparently you'll be able to play every goddamn person you could ever possibly think that ever got played in any of the games previously, and there they all are.
No.
Yeah.
No. Why?
Yeah, like
Why?
I said, he found a megalodon to jump over. It wasn't just a shark, it was prehistoric.
See, I'm sorry when... Don't milk your franchise like that. Let it die with dignity, man.
It might be really successful. I actually don't think that this is a bad move. I think this is an interesting choice. I am anxious to see how it turns out, because this may be a way to get a lot more quote unquote casual gamers further into the industry and exploring more things than just Five Nights at Freddy's.
Well, that was the reasoning behind it, but I'm like, really? You couldn't have found another way to do it other than this? I'm just at a loss. It's such a drastic right turn out of
Nowhere.
the genre.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Again, it's a little bit like, honestly, at this point, it could have been a dating sim for about just as much sense as that turn makes. It could have been a dating sim. It could have been a romantic comedy at this point.
Well, they could have turned it into any other type of horror franchise, horror franchise.
Franchise.
They could have gone
Horror.
with your standard point and click or whatnot, and
Well, I guess that's all we can say about that. I personally am not. I was not a huge fan of the. I mean, the first game was fun. It's also scared the shit out of me, but I don't play that many scary games for that particular reason. I don't see, after 4 games, I'm over it. I'm really over it.
I see a question from Stuart asking, since Nolan Bushnell started Chuck E. Cheese, he was wondering if he ever expressed what he thought about Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know that he ever has. I don't know if that's beyond my level of geekdom when it comes to Five Nights at Freddy's. That's more of a Matt Pat question. I think he could delve into that a little bit more thoroughly, considering Matt Pat was the first one to broach the Chuck E. Cheese Five Nights at Freddy's theorizing in that regard. But I did want to mention that there's another recent horror flick that has come out, not horror flick, but horror game. Damn you, mouse. Horror game that's come out called The Park. which I didn't get to see it fully played, but it seems to be a little bit more point and clicky as opposed to survival horror. I'm gonna have to find a
Yes.
catchphrase for that now.
This is a little bit like that a scene in My Fair Lady. Okay, Drew, say the rain in Spain falls mainly in the main.
The
In
foot
the
on my
cheek.
shin goes straight up your ass.
However, I do have to answer Stuart's question. He was actually asked the question of what do you think at Five Nights at Freddy's, and he kind of dodged giving a complete straight answer. All he said was that I think horror games have always been able to turn dolls, clowns, and animals into objects of fear, and that's all he said.
Well, he's not wrong.
Well, yeah.
It didn't answer the question at all, but it's a very good political answer. Kudos, you should run for president. Um,
As opposed to any of the other lovely candidates we already have.
Hey,
Yeah.
I would vote Wonder Woman for president, and I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
She's fictitious and doesn't and isn't a national citizen, therefore.
Better.
Cthulhu, why vote for the lesser evil?
Yeah, I can get behind that. Or D's nuts.
Yeah. Anyway,
Moving
Anyway.
on.
Moving
Five
on.
You were saying, Cece, go ahead.
what was I saying?
I don't know.
I was saying that, good job dodging the question with that. I guess he affording, because he probably doesn't want to say anything negative about either, or anything that could be misconstrued as negative about either Chuck E. Cheese or the franchise. So giving an answer like that is probably his wisest decision.
Probably.
It's not an answer, but honestly, that's probably what he needed to do. And so good for him for playing the political game correctly.
All right, well then, moving on. Next up, for anyone who has been anywhere near Twitch, we're going to talk about the first of things that have been revealed, that being The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth, the DLC that has added, oh god, crap ton of new stuff. Hundreds, they say basically hundreds of new hours of gameplay. There's whole new combinations of weaponry, pets, new monsters to fight, new challenges to meet. I was watching it last night and just kept thinking, holy crap, it looks completely different. It just bigger rooms. It's ridiculous. But as you can see with the trailer here, it's all sorts of new things mixed in with the old. Like I said, the new weapons, new combos, new bosses. It definitely is a significant upgrade for. I don't know how this game keeps going, but they do.
I have never played The Binding of Isaac.
Well, I can tell you what it is. It's extremely difficult. And for people who are good at these kinds of games, this is a really nice challenge. And every time you play through it, it's an entirely different experience. So you can, and there are a lot of fan theories. There's a lot of thought put into the franchise, fan theories about like what each enemy is, how do you get these certain objects, what are these objects, what's this, that, and the other thing, all kinds of different stuff. There's a lot of like I said, there's a lot of fan theories about this stuff. There's a lot of thought about the actual content. And so I'm actually really excited about this too. Now, we've pretty much established throughout the this broadcast that I love a lot of games that I'm terrible at. So naturally, I'm really bad at Binding of Isaac. Therefore, I enjoy it a lot. I haven't really managed to get to a lot of the meat of the content because I die too much. So, but I really do enjoy it, and I think this is a much awaited sequel, and I think this is going to go over probably very, very well. The Binding of Isaac fan base is very excited about this, and rightfully so.
And they
I'm
are
really
very
excited.
committed base too.
Yeah. What I'm really excited about is their multiplayer online ranking championship, whatever system. I forgot what they called it. But they're going to give everyone the same starting seed, the same map, and you get one run through per day to try to see how far you can get through it. And then you have the champions are the the people ranked the
top.
highest at the top. So you have one chance to go through this, and everybody has the exact same game. And I think that's a really nice touch. So you can see how different people handle different things. And I just like knowing that with a game that changes with every time you play it, something like this, it's really good to have a solid baseline for the play, so that no one person has just this really awful seed that just kills you immediately. Like you have one room to go into, and it's your big boss battle. Ha ha.
Yeah, that was one of the concerns I always had with trying to do this as a speed run competition, is because the randoms, you never knew who was going to favor. So that was one of the things that is being able to put in a consistent seed so that everyone started off on the same basis. That was one of the key things they needed for it and to go into competition.
Yep. So I think this is a very good addition. And I always want there to be live streaming of everything, because I actually really enjoy watching esports while I'm doing things like grading papers. So, I'm really excited about this. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Again, I'm terrible at this game, so I'll probably just have to enjoy watching people stream it on Twitch. You know, more than I'll actually get to experience the game myself, which is kind of sad, but,
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I'm just not very good at it, and I'm sure with more practice, I could get better at it, but I'm a busy person, so I have lots of jobs, so.
She wears many hats.
I do indeed wear many hats.
Whenever you're not wearing corsets.
Yeah, when I'm not wearing corsets. I wear many corsets too. But anyway,
So there's that.
Binding of Isaac Afterbirth.
Also in the recently announced has been Outlast 2, the sequel to... Well, she seems excited.
Yes. Okay, I really enjoy watching Let's Plays of people play these kinds of games. The PewDiePie, oh God, just screaming the whole time.
Oh God.
But the people
Drive a fork through my ears, please.
Yeah, but I enjoy watching people who are good at the game do blind plays of this kind of stuff. Like Dark Souls, because they'll walk in and they're like, yeah, I got this, and then they're like, wait, why am I dead? What just happened? I don't know. It's a lot of fun to watch people figure that out. I am too much of a coward to play a lot of these games.
Me too.
Unless I have people with me, which is really sad. Because most of the people that I have done this with are actually more cowards than I am, and I largely just keep going to make them scream. So, in case anyone doubted that I'm a tiny bit of a sadist. Yeah.
Just a wee bit, lass.
I'm looking forward to making people miserable.
I mean, we've only discussed your tendency to toss people off bridges and things like that.
Yeah.
Like the Sith. Although you've been playing a Jedi recently.
What happens with Twitch stays with Twitch, but what happens with YouTube is ongoing. So
yeah,
I can't unfortunately YouTube broadcast because that would just be a big old ugly mess. But Outlast 2 is coming. I would have the trailer up for it, but unfortunately, all it is a burning cross.
Yeah.
It's an audio trailer. It's not that good to show here.
Yeah.
But heads up, there you go. Next up, another horror-themed added emphasis. Bed, Survive the Night. This is a point and click in as much as you're in bed, and as you can see, all the little monsters are coming in order to make them go away. And it gets harder and harder to make them go away, and eventually you don't succeed. So
yeah, I don't know. I haven't played this. I think it's a really interesting concept. I am all for trying to explore more. Sorry, Bob Ross just popped up on my computer for some reason.
he will eventually.
Yeah, sorry. There's actually a reason that Bob Ross popped up on my computer, but anyway, sorry about distraction. I was like,
and the channel. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Like happy little birds or whatever.
I think, and apparently our Twitch keeps going up and down, and I blame freaking Bob Ross.
Well, it's not Bob. You can't blame the dead man.
Shall we?
Well, we can blame the
Nope.
Bob Ross.
I will blame Bob Ross forever and ever.
Well, we can blame everyone else that's doing stuff with Bob Ross right now.
You can blame all the people watching Bob Ross, as there is a crap ton of people doing it. But like I said, what happens on Twitch stays on Twitch. I cannot help it. If you guys want to go over to Steel Phoenix TV on YouTube and give us a follow there, you can see it live on YouTube. We probably won't be able to see your chat.
No, but you can.
Yeah. Actually, I might be able to.
Although I don't know where I've never figured out where the live stream is for our YouTube.
You go to steelphoenix.com.
Oh, there we go,
It's the second
Geekamole.
thing down. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I will post the link on the thingy, on the chat on Twitch TV, for those of you who do not want to deal with...
Yeah. Twitchy.
What's going on? I can hear it. Okay, there we go. Oh.
Yeah, I hear Bob Ross too. What is this?
I hear Bob Ross whispering in my ear.
Damn
What is
you,
wrong?
Bob Ross! Get off our podcast.
Yeah.
The power of Christ compels you.
You are
The power of
dead.
Sterling compels you. Go away.
Yeah.
Take your happy little trees somewhere else. God damn it.
Yeah.
Happy little grasping trees. All right.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep looking up and the camera keeps freezing when I'm making some kind of a
Bob Ross is watching us.
face.
Bob Ross is watching me.
Oh, God, no.
All right, so that's go to bed. Next up is Mouse. You were bringing up news about Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Yes. So, as you remember, the people who did Mirror's Edge has a chance now to do a sequel, and they were looking forward to using the things that were actually successful in the game and taking out things that were not, such as the fighting and stuff like that. They want to make it a persistent world, a unified world without loading screens, etc. So. They originally had slated this game, and I'm excited about it, for a release on February the 23rd of next year. However, they've had to delay it to May 24th up until this point. Sarah Jansen, let's send out an update which has a lot of buzzword language coded into it. She basically said, "We set out an ambitious vision for Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Achieving that vision and delivering the best possible experience is equally inspiring and challenging, and it takes time."
Well,
Very, very mild rant. I really wish developers would stop doing the political thing and go, shit takes time. We have a lot of shit to do. It'll take a little longer. We'll see you in May. Instead of, we have to deliver the most absolutely and best. I'm sorry, when you sound like you're one of the robots and one of the androids in Star Trek, no.
well, that's also the way that they have to do. It's also business. It's just business talk.
Right.
That's not really. I think a lot of that is for the backers, for their investors, rather than for the game than the actual gamers. Because the actual gamers will be like, "Oh, it's been moved back so they can do more stuff. Cool. I don't want a buggy game." But the backers won't really understand why you can't have a buggy game as much. Investors are not the same people as the people who actually play the game. So that particular speak is largely for the business
backers.
aspect. It's for the backers. It's for investors. It's for the economic side of everything. It's not really for the gamers, because the gamers are like, "Oh, okay, cool." They might be frustrated, but
Mouse, can you watch the chat on YouTube? Because unfortunately, it won't let me.
On YouTube? You mean
Yeah.
on Twitch?
No, well, I can see the chat on Twitch. I can't watch the chat on YouTube because in order for me to do that, I would get double-crossed broadcasting. I would be picking up us talking to ourselves.
I don't see a chat room.
There should be one.
gamers are like, "Oh, okay."
Oh,
I
okay,
hear
there
it.
we go.
They might be frustrated.
All right,
This
I am
is-
watching the chat. I am
can
watching
you-
the chat on YouTube, so...
Yeah, if you guys, I'll find a way to broadcast it myself to monitor it myself. But right now, the thing that I use to rebroadcast doesn't support YouTube's chat, so I can only see the Twitch chat, which I'm already seeing somewhere else. So, but there you are.
There you are, Mouse is watching
Thank you for bearing with us in all the lovely broadcasting issues. I mean, literally, there's nothing going wrong on my side.
It's
we
all
did drop a
Twitch's-
few. We did drop a few frames in there, but I mean, I blame Twitch for the most part.
I think it's that everybody's trying to do a special Halloween episode. of everything.
Could
And then
be.
Bob Ross.
And Bob Ross.
Yeah, Bob Ross.
I'm sorry, the fact that I heard the man and he's dead, it's whispering in my ear, that's a sign, man.
Yeah.
Maybe Bob Ross is displeased that I am impersonating Jim Sterling.
Maybe
I don't
Bob
know.
Ross wanted you to be him.
So anyway, Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
I don't think I have a wig like that.
Mirror's
think-
Edge
Oh,
Catalyst.
yes, Mirror's Edge Catalyst. So it's going to be
Mirror's.
delayed until May, unfortunately. So I am looking forward to the game. If I have money, then I will buy it because I liked what the first game was trying to achieve. And right now, if you want an experience similar to Mirror's Edge, but which actually has focus on the parkour elements and stuff like that, get on the beta, the public beta or the public alpha for Hover Revolts Games. Hopefully, Mirror's Edge will really focus on the parkour for the sequel and the elements that made it innovative and strong. So we'll have to wait until May.
Well, we can get it for my birthday then. All right. Next up, Nier. As we said before, Nier 2 is finally coming out. And it finally has a name. It's officially called Nier Automata. Or Automata.
Automata.
Or Automata. Whatever. And I was watching this. I'm going to let you see the trailer for this one. And I honestly consider this Lightning Gets Her Groove back again. Because it is Square Enix, and it is female protagonists jumping around, swinging blades that are not physically attached to her body in any way, shape, or form. They hover behind her back. You will see that. There you go. Perfect example right there. It literally just hovers magically behind her back. But it is a little bit Shadow of the Colossus on a couple of these, because some of these are quite huge. I'm not sure if these are bosses or if they are your average.
She's kind of dressed like a cyberpunk goth Lolita. What the fuck?
Welcome to Nier.
What the fuck, Japan? Serious.
I suspect this is the original Nier's protagonist's daughter.
She looks like She kind of looks like what Alice in Wonderland would have to do if she had to, like, work at a brothel.
I'm actually totally cool with the costume because, as far as video game costumes go, this is one of the least offensively ridiculous ones. You know, it's more like, okay, I mean, it's not really practical, but it serves a purpose. It gives a very specific visual idea. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I just wish Japan would give up on frilly little skirts.
Well, the thing with the art style is that you want a character who is recognizable in profile, and you know, if you saw nothing else, you simply saw them against white. That's how, like, oh yeah, that's that person, because I can tell because the little skirt goes and it doesn't floof out or what. So that's kind of how they do it. So
Yeah. And I actually
Fum
liked it.
Fum said that she's actually wearing a trench. She's a cyber goth. She's not actually wearing a trench as much as she's wearing a Lolita dress trench coat, which I didn't even think was possible. But
I'm gonna be honest. I want to wear that. Okay. I look at that and I'm like, that's really cute. I wish I could wear that in this day and age and not have people be really confused.
well,
I don't think
just
anybody would be
wear it
terribly
for confidence.
confused. I think they would just get mixed messages.
Yeah. Well, you obviously have different prostitutes in the area than we do.
We have prostitutes in the area.
Never mind. Keep going. Anyway, as I was saying,
Do tell.
no, like, okay. Have you ever been to New Orleans?
Have I? No, I've never been to
No,
New
I
Orleans.
haven't.
Okay, well, if you ever go to New Orleans, it's very easy to pick out the people who are entertainers of a particular nature rather than other people. That's not actually that prostitute-y. It really isn't.
No,
The
it's
lollies
I mean,
of the
it's
night?
showy.
no, it's more. It's more lowly than anything else.
It's more Lolita. It's more. I mean, if you really want to go anywhere,
That
It would be-
that chest pattern is interesting. It's slightly kind of Victorian-ish.
Yeah.
You know, like a Victorian embroidery, and there's. I'm trying to look at it closely, and that's when that's where I realize I'm staring at someone's boobs.
Have I
good
ever mentioned
yeah.
how
good
much
job, Square Enix.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love this show. We could start talking about how a game has got a sequel coming out, and then it just Look at her dress. I mean, oh my god, that pattern on her.
It's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, who's her tailor?
No, I love it. I really love it. I think we're going to see a lot of cosplays.
Cosplayers? Oh yeah.
I'm
Oh yeah,
serious. I think we're going to see a lot of cosplays of the character because it's really a cool. I think it's a really cool design. It doesn't make sense, but honestly, as for a combat character, it makes a hell of a lot more sense than a lot of costumes
The
these
anything,
chainmail
Japanese
bikini.
schools
anything
have.
coming out of
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, considering how many straps and things they have hanging off of that could get snatched on things.
Or the fact
Yeah.
that, technically speaking, lightning should not be able to move.
And as a performer, I've actually worn a lot of clothing like that and had to move around on stage and dance and sing. So that is actually, from personal experience, that's actually something you can do a lot of stuff in, and you're not worried about it falling off or flying off. So, it's not the most practical, but it's somewhat practical. I mean, yeah, the face mask is whatever. Yeah, Foomfist, both their eyes are hidden behind a solid black mask. Of course, it makes no sense. I mean, there are certainly
She probably has no eyes. She
Yeah.
just uses radar.
She
Yeah,
is
she just uses radar.
Daredevil.
She's Daredevil.
she's Daredevil, or there are specific kinds of fabrics that you can actually cover your eyes and face with, and you can
And see through.
well through. I've done a lot of costume work with stuff like that. I've been like Dementors and
Those are pretty cool.
and ring wraiths and stuff. So you have the right fabric, you can actually see perfectly fine through it. Yeah, Dare Loli.
It's Lolly Devil.
Lolly Devil.
Lily Devil. But yeah, as far as costume design goes, I wouldn't be mad about that. That is one of the that actually makes a lot more sense than most other games coming
Games.
out by, honestly by Squeenix. So I'm cool with it.
All right, moving on.
Moving right along.
Ark Survival Evolved. This, I never thought I would have them listed in the Halloween episode, but they are getting into the Halloween mood. They have introduced dino skeletons. Literally undead dinosaurs that will come out in the middle of the night and hunt your characters down. I saw at least 3
That
versions.
would terrify me. I would not be able to play that game during the Halloween months because that would terrify the fuck out of me.
I may be getting on that game as soon as this is over.
I've also heard they have zombie dodo birds, so that would be coming after me because I love to beat up the dodos. They also have a new creature called a Dodo Rex, which is actually a larger, I think it was fire-breathing even, version of a dodo that actually hunted other dodos. What is it? The real zombie plague is that they are making their way into everything. Yes, Swoomp, it is. That is the gospel of zombie plagues. But when I saw that, I'm like going, oh my! And it's not just that they're not just reskinning the things. They are putting a lot of detail because you can see the individual bones casting shadows.
Oh, I like
so
that.
Yeah.
it is extremely detailed. I mean, now mind you, they didn't. A giant dodo with short arms.
Yeah, Foomf has been making a lot of comments. We're watching the chat on Twitch, and Foomf says the real zombie plague is that they're making their way into everything, and he's talking about a giant
Dodo
giant
Rex.
dodo with short arms, the
Yep,
Dodo Rex.
Dodo Rex. But yeah, so that is the reason why I had to bring Ark in. So if you don't have it, Cece, I can give you I can get you a copy of it real quick.
I think I have a copy actually.
Go
Maybe.
play it and tell me what it's like, because I don't want these
Yeah.
things chasing me in the night. I hide in my freaking little shack all night long.
Yeah.
All right, so next up, Wild. I saw this. This was announced at Paris Gamescom, or Gamescom, shall we say. And this is the 2014 trailer that I'll be putting up here in a minute once I can get the clickies to go. But the cool thing about this game is they're comparing it a bit to Bloodborne. However, what I saw in the play, play through wasn't so much Bloodborne as you are a shaman and you have the ability to actually take control of various animals, and you go around and you can summon the animal divinities to do things for you, and you can possess animals and make them attack your enemies. And You could ride bears and a whole bunch of. It was just really awesome. And it said that the key thing was that for every problem, there are multiple solutions that you can approach in order to fix it. One of the gameplay segments I came across was the shaman rides down on the bear with. You're supposed to be trying to get to the shrine in order to summon the snake divinity, in order to save a member of your tribe that has been bitten by a snake. And in order to get there, you have to cross this tribe of cannibals. So there's so many there that you don't want to risk fighting them head on. So even with your bear, who will fight with you, so what you do is you possess a rabbit. You run the rabbit through the tribe so they don't pay any attention to it. Out the backside where a whole bunch of ravens are, then you possess one of the ravens and lead the entire raven flock to attack the tribe. While they're distracted, you ride in on the bear and beat the crap out of everything until they run. And I just thought, okay, that was awesome.
I like that.
Yeah.
So that is called Wild. It is by Wild Sheep. And I can't. It's a PS4 exclusive, so that means I gotta buy a PS4.
There's also an option to play as a woman, so I'm happy.
Yes, there is. You can play as male or female.
And I like that as a female. If your sexual orientation is not sexual orientation, bleh. Well, that too. If your gender or your sex has nothing to do with the storyline, then I think it only makes sense to be able to offer both options, male and female.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy with that. It's like, yay! You know, they just create a different character model and it just runs the same way.
Yep.
Not that much effort.
Same powers, same abilities, everything. You basically run the game as is your preference, either stealth, combat, whatever. So I'm totally on board with any game that has multiple solutions to any problem. And especially with something so innovative as, I'm going to possess the rabbit and send the rabbit through, and then I'm going to take possession of the ravens and beat the crap out of these guys, and then ride it on my bear.
I will not be that nuanced. I'll probably just be like, fuck it, I'll just ride into the bear, kill everyone. Good, done. I'm not
That's like a good approach.
kill things. Just kill things. I'm a Sith at heart.
You
Why
know-
nuance? Just kill him.
Well, Sith can be nuanced.
Well, I'm a different Sith. then.
Okay, fine. You're the blunt Sith.
Yes, I'm a blunt Sith. I'm like, why don't we just crash this? They're like, well, we need to destroy this. Okay, let's fly a starship into it. Done. Like, oh, that's not the best.
Have
Okay.
you played Knights of the Fallen Empire Chapter 1?
I actually have not played Knights of the Fallen Empire yet because I am not there in my story.
Oh,
She's,
well.
she's Darth Killer.
Yeah.
I have played chapters 1 through 9. They're up on YouTube if anyone cares to go watch them. I wholeheartedly encourage you to do so. Especially CC, talking about the blunt Sith.
Just kill everything.
Because
Why
I
don't
was
we just
blunt
kill everything?
Sith number 1 on chapter 1. So,
Yep. No one can just kill everyone.
kill everyone. Let the Force
They-
sort them out.
Yeah, like you have a slave uprising. You kill all the slaves. No more uprising.
No uprising.
No more slaves,
No more
too.
slaves, but...
No more slaves, but no more uprising. Problem solved. I mean, they weren't working anyway, so who cares? And now you don't even have to pay for
They'd
them.
have just been miserable and let their misery go on to everything.
Yes.
All right, so moving on.
Moving on to
Fallout 4.
Yes, starting as of next month, or that is, a day from now, you will be able to buy Nuka-Cola Quantum at Target to celebrate the launch of Fallout 4.
Thank you, Jones Soda, for being the victim, I believe.
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna have a Star Trek party, and I'm using this as Romulan ale.
Nice.
Hey, whatever works.
I have just now decided within
Oh.
these past 5 seconds to do that. But, yeah, but that looks like Romulan ale to me, so I'm
Hey.
gonna drink it.
Whatever works.
It will be available at Target stores starting November 10th, in the same day that Fallout launches. So, it's not the only beverage in the works, by the way. Carlsberg is going to make a Fallout beer, which will be available only in the UK, unfortunately, starting on November 5th.
Damn you, UK. How dare
They-
you take an American product away from us. America!
There are gonna be some awesome Fallout 4 parties on the release day. I have to
Yes.
say, I need to find someone who's getting Fallout 4 and have a fantastic party with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna be in the wrong state for that. So,
Yeah.
Why?
well, there may be some in that state, but the only person I know is over here. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, well,
he'll be streaming it live, I'm sure.
if I
Well, then
have a
maybe
job by then.
I can catch a Twitch stream and then have my own one person party.
Already,
You could.
you're,
That's not sad or pathetic at all.
you'll be
That's really awesome.
What?
It's
Do you, how you guys doing? Yeah, I'm just sitting here drinking my Romulan
all
ale
by
by myself.
myself.
I'm a strong, independent woman who don't need no friends.
I don't need no man to play my games for me.
No, I don't need to buy the games. I can just watch people play it on Twitch because that's not lonely.
All right. Well, speaking of strong, independent women, and they're not needing men to play their games for them, this is Detroit being human, or become human rather. I don't know anything about this. I saw this video, and it was the creation of an android named Kara, and her coming online and running through her subroutines and everything, and then she woke up and realized that they were just going to treat her like merchandise. And she's like, "Oh wait, no! I thought you were just going to let me go." And they're like, "Oh, you're defective. We got to take your part." And she argues with them, and they decide not to take her part and to just let her just go into the box like any other normal android, I guess. And so this I believe is sort of Deus Exy in a way, that she's going to have to somehow do a revolution of the artificial intelligences, essentially.
Yes, but let's not forget though that this is by the same people who created Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. So, I am quite sure that at some point we will have the android protagonist running around in her skimpy skivvies, and there will probably be a very tremendously, incredibly awkward sex scene.
But hey, if it's actually initiated by the woman in a kind of like I'm a cool woman way, then we're making tiny steps
No,
forward.
I mean, no. I don't know if you ever saw the sex scene in question. It is one of the most awkward things ever.
I've seen it.
The way I can describe it to those who haven't seen it is: imagine back when your brother used to grab your Barbies and your Kens and pretended that they were having sex. That was more believable than the sex in that game.
Yeah.
Seeing as I am the brother and I didn't do that, I was the one usually having to dress the Barbies because there was just a sea of naked Barbies lying around. And it bothered the hell out of me.
Well then.
My brothers never did that because I made jails for my Barbies, and my Barbies worshipped a rat, so I had a rubber rat that they worshipped.
Aha!
King rat.
Interesting.
Anyway.
So yeah, I just as he was saying that though, I was harkening back to the it's not this particular trailer that I'm showing here, but the actual the I guess is the inspiration for this trailer, where they're talking about how, if you would like, I could be your sexual partner, and I'm like, well, that one came out of nowhere. Where did you what? That was one of the options.
Like,
Starfire? No.
So yeah, I'm dying to know, but again, another exclusive PS4. I'm sorry.
Alas.
Alas,
I shall never play it.
lament and woe.
yeah.
But yeah, so there we go. Detroit Become Human. Next up,
Yeah.
Paradox and White Wolf.
Yes, isn't it an interesting thing? The Paradox IP has been acquired by Swedish publisher Paradox Interactive. With CEO of White Wolf Publishing, Tobias, God, how do you pronounce his name? Sjorgen? Sjorgen, I guess, said that he's actually quite happy with the purchase because, again, Paradox Interactive has had a storied and I would say successful string of games. Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't they the ones behind the Cities games?
Maybe.
Paradox.
Here, keep
I know
talking.
I played something from Paradox recently. I just don't remember what.
I'll be
Well,
able to tell you in 3 seconds.
White Wolf Publishing is probably best known for the Vampire the Masquerade series,
And
World of
the
all
role-playing game,
Darkness.
the
World of
entire World
Darkness.
of Darkness. Yeah.
Yeah, the Werewolf the
Yes.
Apocalypse. I know them mostly as Vampire the Masquerade because it's a great game, but the people who
Yes.
play it are kind of weird, and that's
Well,
coming from me.
welcome
And I
to
don't mean that in a
Wallop.
bad way. I just mean that, I don't understand the Vampire the Masquerade aficionados.
Well,
Um,
because they pull in, well, at least as far back as the early 2000s, they were pulling in all of the Anne Rice fans, and now
mhm.
it's gotten even weirder because it also pulls in the Twilight fans,
Mm,
and that's like 7 buckets of fucked up.
yeah.
But Paradox Interactive has published Knights of Pen and Paper 1 and 2, which are fabulous little mobile games. Cities, Skylines After Dark, and City Skylines, which you might know it as the game that Sim City should have been. They've also done Crusaders, Crusader Knights, and Cities in Motion, Europa Universalis, Stellaris, Hollow Point. So I'm not terribly worried about them purchasing White Wolf. If anyone, I think they could create some very interesting White Wolf based games.
I
I
sincerely hope they do because I'm craving a decent werewolf game.
Yeah, we've had one not as good vampire game. Then we had a better game called Vampire Bloodlines, which was okay for its time. What really made that game though were the fan mods and patches, which turned it into an okay game, from an okay game into a really really good game. So the vampire. The vampire franchise is probably going to be the one they explore it again, but most likely we will probably see a werewolf game, hopefully. And this is wishful thinking, but I would like to see a changeling game, just
I
because
doubt it.
that's something that has not been really touched upon.
Well, I mean,
That's
let's be
probably
honest.
quite fair.
Vampires are the romantic one because the sparkliness of it all, and
Oh,
they you
I
true.
think
don't
there was a
it doesn't
romantic one before that.
well it
Yeah.
doesn't require significant model changes in order to play vampires from one position to another. However, werewolves, oh yeah, model changes up the wazoo because you technically have 5 different stages of
The
werewolfism,
Kratos and yeah.
and then changeling, changeling is its own.
Well,
It's a selective niche of a selective niche. So
Yeah.
now, if I would love to see them play out some epic, actual, true World of Darkness drama where you could play a party of like members of each of the, because that would be awesome. Quite honestly,
Although the problem they're going to run into is Mage is probably, I would say that of all of the properties, Mage is probably the one that is absolutely impossible to transfer onto a computer game, at least for modern computer standards, because Mage, at least the World of Darkness version, I'm not going to talk about the newer edition because it sucked. You basically could create your own spell effects, and basically reality was your etch a sketch. The only drawback is that you had to incur paradox, but you can't really convey just how powerful a mage truly is in a game if he's a player character.
well,
You might have to make him a villain. So
in all honesty, considering one of the topics I took out of the list for today was that all of the old Dungeons and Dragons games have come over to GOG, and by Dungeons and Dragons I mean Kryn and Ravenloft and Dark Sun. And a lot of those games actually came out before their rules were cemented in the actual role playing games. So they each had different ways of demonstrating how a character was played. So even if they don't use the mechanics of the RPG system, as long as they're true to the IP essentially, I think that's the key point. If they can make mages have a customizable ability to, you know, build spells, because that's been done in games before, not terribly successfully, as I recall, but if they,
But there's a basis for that.
yeah,
something
if
to work
anybody
on.
can pull it off, Paradox probably could. So,
So we'll see. We'll see.
So next up.
Oh, I need to make one clarification.
Okay.
When I said that the Mage book sucked, the newer version, I was not referring to the one that has recently come out, which is the 20th anniversary edition, and it's chock full of 600 plus pages of wonderfulness, which harkens back to the World of Darkness, but not really. What they actually did was they took the premise of the World of Darkness, but then made it so that you could actually create your own. You had the World of Darkness where the technocracy had won, but then you can also have this other thing where you have different geographic belief zones. So magic is stronger in cultures that believe more in magic, etc., etc. So I believe, the 20th anniversary edition fixed a lot of the problems that had been present in the previous edition, which was what I like to call Wiccan, the wannabe, because they streamlined everything and they made it really accessible, and then you had rotes instead of the more creative stuff, etc., etc. So I'm talking about the edition that came between the most recent edition before the 20th anniversary edition.
All right. So moving on. Titanfall. I'm just gonna let you run with this one completely, Mouse, because it's in land of mobiles.
No, let's not talk about that one. Trust me. There's just way too much that I don't have time to address for this, and we're running short on time. But I do want to talk about the Nintendo incursion into the mobile territory, though.
Well,
What we can say really quickly about Titanfall is that Titanfall is making a new iOS. Is it iOS or a mobile spin-off next year? Boom,
That's
done.
what this is.
Good.
That's
Yeah, pretty much. It was a fun game, but it didn't have really that much of a content to really get excited about. So we'll see what this does.
Yeah. So we don't know what it looks like. We just know that there's a mobile spin-off next year.
Yeah. Anyways, now moving on to Nintendo. This is the interesting thing. Nintendo has finally come into the 21st century, and they're having a foray into the mobile market with a very, very safe product. It's called Tomo, which Tomo means friend in Japanese, and it's basically the mobile incarnation of Tomodachi Life. You create their own me, and then players are asked a series of questions, and based on those answers, they communicate with other me's. It's kind of like a social networking game, but
okay.
for
You're
me's.
saying Tomo. I'm like going, Tomo doesn't mean that. You mean Tama?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, what?
I had Tomo in mind because I know someone who used to go by the nickname of Tomo.
Yeah, Tamadochi.
Ferial knows exactly who I was thinking about. He's watching the show right now, so. But yes, so this is kind of like the game for you if you like the idea of social interaction but don't want actually to reach out and talk to human beings. And it uses the new Nintendo's new service called My Nintendo, which kind of tries to bridge communication between console and smartphone devices. This little mobile incursion is coming out in March 2016. It was originally set to be released on the fall of this year, but they decided to slow it down. It's interesting that Nintendo is getting into the mobile market, and I'm saying what I'm going to say is it opens the door for a lot of possibilities and a lot of exciting possibilities that will eventually disappoint the fans. And the reason I say this is, again, because of how Nintendo has been handling its virtual store, which you can get through the Wii and the Wii U, which in theory allows you to get old games from the Nintendo's library and be able to play them. Fortunately, in the US, that has not really been the case. The virtual console for the Wii and the Wii U remained very, very bare, and they lack a lot of the really good classic Nintendo games outside of the mainstream, outside of very few niche titles. So Nintendo has this incredible potential now. They're going into the mobile market. The best thing they could do would be to start adapting some of their old titles that everybody loves into mobile games, and we know they're not going to do it.
I don't know if we say we know they're not going to do it. We think they probably won't do it.
I bet you $20 they're not going to do it.
All I know is I'm gonna next time you guys keep talking about the Wii U, I'm just gonna go back to the Kung Pao sound page and just grab the Wii.
Wii U. I love I love that movie and I shouldn't. But I love
Chosen
it.
one, I've changed.
Well, sorry, Drew, and I have not been speaking very much while Mouse was explaining this. Mouse went off the book with that one, so we were just kind of like, oh, well, I don't have any info about that. So,
I'm just gonna say a twin of my thumbs because you notice the graphic didn't change.
yep, yeah. So that's why it still says Titanfall, even though we're talking about Nintendo stuff.
It's live TV, people.
So
Yeah.
moving on, the ghost of Bob Ross is haunting Twitch, as we have said already. The man is dead, but he is still running a 200-hour marathon on Twitch, and this is what gets me. Twitch has the nerve, and I should go back and look to see where this money is going, but they have the nerve to have a subscribe button up on the Bob Ross page. Subscribing for $4.99 to a man who's dead. And last I checked, which was last night admittedly, he had almost 160,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
At
I don't-
$5 a
I want to know
pop.
who's getting that money.
I hope
really wanna
PBS
know
is getting that money. That's all I can say.
I hope
Happy little
PBS is getting that
trees.
money.
Because
Viewers like you.
there was a lot of happy little trees being made. I swear to you. Every time I turn around, I'm like going, "Oh look, somebody's hosting Bob. Somebody's hosting Bob Ross. Somebody else is hosting Bob Ross."
Yeah.
You know, at this point, I can tell you that more people will have watched Bob Ross than they will have watched any of the presidential debates.
I'm okay with that.
And
I
I'm
love
okay with
Bob
that.
Ross. I honest to God love Bob Ross. I used to watch
Bob
him
Ross
every
is
weekend when I was younger, when he was still alive and I was actually young. And all my aspirations hadn't been completely and utterly
See,
crushed.
I think our next episode should be all of us doing video game critiques like Bob Ross would.
I don't know how you would say fuck Konami and talk about happy little trees in the same breath. It just doesn't seem to work.
Konami are not they're not very nice people. Have some happy little sprites.
Anyway, Bob
Anyways.
Ross is on Twitch.
So this is, of course, I bring this up because this is Twitch actually formally announcing Twitch Creative, which is their, I guess, response to YouTube Gaming.
And YouTube Red.
And well, not even a response to YouTube Red, because you've already been able to subscribe and pay money to Twitch.
Yeah.
So there you go, Bob Ross, 200 hours. We're probably only barely touching the top of that.
You too could be the next Bob Ross. Or the next Jim fucking Sterling son.
Moving on, PlayStation.
PlayStation. So, is this the RPG news? Just making
Yeah,
sure
this
I'm not
is-
going off book.
This is the RPG news. It's also backward compatibility.
Ah, yes. Okay, so, they, what's his name? Shuhei Yoshida, I think. He's the president of Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide. He participated in an AMA at the French PlayStation Twitter earlier today, and several questions were asked. One of them was, can we expect a Sony-made RPG in the future? And they also asked them, are PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 classics coming to the PS4? Answering on whether or not there were any JRPGs or RPGs being created by Sony, Yoshida said that Sony has nothing to announce, and his reply concerning backwards compatibility was, in French, one word, non. So, PlayStation...
Well, the question was in French, so.
The question is, y aura-t-il une rétrocompatibilité de jeux PS3 sur PS4?
Thank you for our international audience.
Mais oui, c'est pour notre audience internationale, je parle français pour vous.
I wasn't aware I was going to have to close caption a translation for him today.
What he asked was, will there be retro compatibility or backwards compatibility for games from PS3 on PS4? And Yoshida simply said no. So unfortunately, the PlayStation 4 doesn't have any backwards compatibility, obviously, and they don't think they should change their approach. They did announce that now, however, your PlayStation Network friends will tell you when they are online, because that is, that really does ease the void caused by my ginormous PS3 library not being useful anymore.
Well, I mean, it's. Don't get me wrong. That's a good, useful thing, so you can be like, oh, hey, I want to play whatever game with my friends. Are they online? They're online. Cool. But, um, the retro compatibility is way more important. I think I
It
understand why they're not, why they don't
Well,
want to put that money toward games that they don't see as making money anymore.
well, the problem is
Um,
they would have to completely. They'd have to. I mean, each. The problem with PlayStation is each console is a new,
structure.
completely new structure. So there is no ability for them to support because it'd be have to you'd have to build in a PlayStation One into the PlayStation Four
Yeah.
to support PlayStation One alone. So
So
yeah.
alas, see, I love a lot of the Sony games and PlayStation games, but this is why ultimately I'm a PC gamer at heart, because at least I can go back to I'd say 90% of my old library, and I don't have to like pour in hundreds of dollars so I can just see them again.
If I was them, I would create an overpriced and I would call it like a retro
Yes,
um a retro system or something, and it would play
the retro station.
yeah, like the retro station 1, 2, 3, and they would play through, like, say we're on, what are we on PlayStation 5? It would
Four.
play
Yeah.
PlayStation games through, oh, we're on 4 right now.
Four.
Um then they would play through PlayStation 3. I don't pay attention to the PlayStation stuff. Those consoles are too much money. Um
They are, and I think that, of
yeah.
course, the PlayStation 3 Retro Station would probably be the most expensive one of the three. But you know,
well, because the retro station would be three versions of PlayStation.
yeah,
It'd
Yeah.
be a PlayStation One, Two, and Three. That's the nature of
Yeah.
it.
I think it would be worth looking into, but they may have already looked into that and decided that it wasn't financially
they could make it.
lucrative enough.
They could make a limited. They could make limited runs available to a niche or exclusive market.
Yeah. So
All
we'll
right.
see,
So
maybe.
moving on, Indietron. This was yours, Mouse.
Yes, give me 1 second, because I have frozen. Okay, there we go. Do
Let
not,
it go.
do not go there. Do
Let it
not go there.
go.
Damn it! There we go.
Do you want to build a
Okay.
snowman?
Okay, so indie games and indierockers.com have launched something that is really, really cool. For those of you who have had a hard time tracking upcoming games, upcoming indie games, they have released the Indietron, which is it tracks upcoming video game releases, current Kickstarter video game campaigns. They do mobile, they do Steam. Because let's be frank, if you've ever gone through the upcoming game tabs on Steam, it's a freaking mess. Steam does a lot of really good things, but keeping track of what's coming and letting you know when it's coming is not really that good.
To be fair, those things change all the time, and
Yeah.
Steam probably I like their resources are probably best put elsewhere.
Yeah, and they're pretty tapped considering that they released they released control from the I want to say from the the quality assurance that anyone can submit games.
Yeah.
The Inditron is launching with a 140 game giveaway apparently. And so if you really want to keep track of what's going on and what Kickstarter campaigns you might be interested in, giving this baby a look is definitely what you need to do. It launched on Monday, October 26th, and a lot of developers came forward to help promote the event by offering free Steam keys to everyone who came out and tried it out. But they're also giving away 140 keys for almost 30 new titles. So if you like indie games, go take a look. Seriously, they might have run out already, but you never know.
Yeah.
By the time you hear this show in the backups, it will definitely have run out. But if you're
Yeah.
live right now, go take a look. That's one of the reasons you want to listen to us live.
In any case, yay, Indietron. That's going to be a really cool tool, especially for people who really care about playing the games when they come out and knowing what's all exciting or
And being able
Christmas.
to back up and to be able to back up
birthday.
Kickstarters too.
Yep.
There
at
were a
Kickstarter.
lot. There were a lot of Kickstarters that they ran out of money. They ran out of time, and I went, "Oh God damn it! If I had known, I would have thrown money at them."
All right. Well, moving on.
Moving right along.
Just a quick nod in the direction of J.R.R. Tolkien.
So, sorry about that. So, The Guardian reported that illustrator Pauline Baynes removed a map from a previous version of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. This particular map was published in 1970, and they found it. This particular map had all annotations by J.R.R. Tolkien all over it. You can currently see that being exhibited at Oxford, and it's selling for £60,000. And they call it an important document and the finest piece of Tolkien ephemera to emerge in the past few decades. It shows the exact nature of how persnickety and exacting Tolkien was. He fixes names that were misspelled. He gives additional names for specific places, such as Hobbit, and reveals, for example, in Hobbiton, he writes in the margins, it is assumed to be approximately of the latitude of Oxford, where Tolkien was. So, if you're a fan of Tolkien, this is candy. Oh, and another piece of trivia that I found really cool is that the city of Minas Tirith is actually based on the city of Ravenna or Ravenna in Italy, which is a really cool place. If you've never been, you should totally go there.
Now I'm just going to imagine them all speaking Italian next time I'm watching the movies.
Signore, il
What's the matter
signor
with you? Why are you
Lanelli.
here?
Che viene il signor
Capisci?
dell'Anelli. I should do the poem in Italian just cause.
No.
Un anello per no, okay, whatever.
No.
Oh, no.
All right, so my portion of this, Game of Thrones. For those who are fans of the HBO show, and I am very much one of them, the disappointing news is that this coming year, season 6 may be delayed. Normally, the show airs either in late March or early April, and it turns out that we are probably looking now at a May 1st or thereabouts launch for the new season, because they have already announced, HBO has announced their winter slate of shows. And the show that there's a show that is going to be on what is normally Game of Thrones' time frame, and traditionally their seasons run for about 10 weeks with a 1 week episode break, and that would unfortunately put Game of Thrones out until May.
Oof.
So for those of us who are dying to see if spoiler alert, Jon Snow lives or not, or any of the other things, what happened to Daenerys or whatnot, yeah, we're going to have to wait.
I can hear all of you squirming all the way over here.
Well, it gives
mean-
George R. R. Martin more time to finish a book, so...
I was about to say, well, I mean, welcome to the life of the people who read the book. Like, oh, you have to wait 10 extra whole weeks, you poor things.
He might finish the book before the season comes out. Who knows?
No.
That is a gamble.
So, just as a heads up for you guys, so don't hold your breath and turn blue. Or, you could be a White Walker before this is all over with.
Yeah.
Next up, Arrow.
Dun, 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 dun,
And
dun.
Constantine!
Yes.
Constantine is joining Arrow. I'm a fan.
Yes.
Now, is this well, tell us what's going on, guys, because I haven't watched the series yet.
I haven't seen. Obviously, I haven't seen this. I haven't watched this season yet. I am going to be doing the backlog watching, but as you remember,
It's worth it.
It's definitely worth it. Constantine, as you know, had his own show, which unfortunately was cancelled, even though it was pretty good. However, we have John Constantine's revival coming upon us as he joins the cast of Arrow. I don't know. We don't know yet if this is a permanent thing or if it's just maybe potentially a recurring guest appearance. That would be really pretty cool. And he's coming in to basically to solve the problem of the resurrected Sarah Lance's lack of a soul. By
Well-
killing her again.
This is big news for the comic book for the fans of the show, because this is their first real foray into magic, into the way that they're going to be running that the DC television universe is going to be running magic. We've seen a little bit of it before in Arrow, and I think in Flash. But this is the first real time that we're really going to explore the mechanics of it a little more, find out how this actually works. Hopefully, maybe. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it, and I just like the character of Constantine. I think he's just a cool character,
Cool bastard.
a cool bastard. I think it's a cool concept, and I've really been pleased with the DC TV shows.
verse.
TV verse for a while now. I mean,
DC
there
knows how
are
to do
stronger
TV.
days.
I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They do know how to know. They do know how to do TV.
Yeah, some things are stronger than others. See the beginning of season 2, Gotham. What? But like I've been watching it, and I genuinely when I say that I genuinely don't know what's going to happen, you should be shocked because I'm generally very, very, very good at figuring out what's going to happen in TV shows and movies. But when I say I have no idea. I don't even have a hunch.
I like that.
Like, I don't know where it's going. It's very strange. But anyway, in Arrow, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. And this makes me wonder if they're going to be bringing in more stuff from
The Magic Verse.
well, not just the Magic Verse, but see if maybe they're going to make some mentions of Gotham.
Zatanna, Dr.
I want to see Zatanna.
Yeah, that'd be
And
fun.
and you know, if they again, we haven't heard anything about the Teen Titans actually shooting, and I've been keeping an ear to the ground. But you know, that show, if it goes through, will have Raven, so you have another bit of magical element there. So it'd be pretty cool if they brought Zatanna in too.
Maybe
Oh,
we'll have Raven.
Maybe.
We need to mention that Supergirl has had
Yes.
their premiere, and it was wildly successful.
Next topic.
Next
Are
up,
we moving
My
to the
bad.
next topic?
My bad. Oh,
you're
there you
going
go.
off the book.
Are we
My
going?
bad.
Are we done
My
with
bad.
Arrow?
We're done with Arrow.
Yeah.
Okay, now
So
go
Supergirl.
for it.
So, you want to start, Cece?
Supergirl, wildly successful. Everybody loved it a lot. It's gonna be really good.
12.9 million people watched the show live.
Yeah, a lot of people are really excited about it. I was kind of surprised. Supergirl has always been kind of a more, not really, I don't want to say truly controversial figure in DC Comics, but I had this wonderful conversation with Marv Wolfman one day when we talked about the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. And
Just as you know, when you were hanging out with Marv Wolfman.
yeah, I was just hanging out.
I
with
just
him.
want to underline that she was hanging out with Marv Wolfman.
Yeah, I've also just kind of hung out with the president of Rwanda. But anyway, we're just hanging out with Marv Wolfman. We're talking about it, and he said, we got all this hate mail saying that they hated Supergirl and they wanted her to die, and so we killed her. And then
In
we
Infinite
got all
Crisis.
this in Infinite Crisis, and then we got this. We got a bunch of hate mail after that saying that they didn't want her to die, and it was awful of us to kill her like that. So you can't win or lose with this character. So I for one am really happy to see that Supergirl is finally being more accepted.
Mm-hmm.
I think Supergirl's been a fairly well accepted character in far more recent years, absolutely. So it's nice to see her solidifying her position in the verse.
And interestingly enough, for the demographic that watched this show, 58% of the 18 to 34 were female, but in the apparently the 18 to 49 age range, the mix was more even at 48%. Which is good. I like that. It's also nice to see a superhero character who is, happy.
Yeah, this looks like I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, the Flash show has been pretty
That too.
pretty,
Yes.
cheerful, generally cheerful, which is nice as well. So
Now the question will be whether or not DC decides to capitalize on the warm reception she's had, and actually set straight the mess of a comic that Supergirl was in
So
a New
we'll
52.
we will see. I think this says a lot of good things, and everybody talks about female superheroes, partially because we don't really have a lot of them being presented in the media right now. So it's really nice to see that not only are they presenting her, but she's being really successful. So Marvel, seriously, you need to have a movie that stars someone who's not white and not male with it before 2017.
Miss America Chavez, the movie.
Yeah. Like, I always talk about we need about how we're sorely lacking a movie with a female character, but I always neglect to mention that we're sorely lacking a superhero of any other race that's not white, I think it'd be nice. We're not even the majority of people on the planet, so don't try that argument.
I do really like the fact that they went with the more classic look for her outfit,
Yes.
instead of trying to New 52. You've seen the New 52
Yeah.
outfit with the red diaper kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was their attempt to go sort of power girly.
Yeah.
I like this outfit. I really do.
I think it's very classy. It's classic.
Hmm.
I think it's sexy without being slutty.
Yeah, I like that.
So,
So good for the DC TV verse.
yeah.
All right, so moving on. First up is a little video. Always forget to hit the start button. A little video created by Carlos, and I'm hoping I'm not mispronouncing his name.
Carlos
Baenas.
Baenas.
Baena?
Baenas. Yeah, Baenas.
Baenas. There's no S.
I thought it was Carlos Baenas.
It says Baena.
Oh, then it's Baena
Okay.
with an emphasis on the A.
And this is he has worked for Pixar and ILM in the past as an animator, and he is now working on a personal project called La Noria,
La Noria.
which means the Ferris wheel. And this is just a little proof of concept trailer. He's got this going on Indiegogo, and it involves a little boy who is very creative, likes to build little Ferris wheels, and comes across a dark time in his life and some creatures that come along with it, shall we say. And they're trying to collect $50,000 to fund the animation project. I am really just dying of curiosity to see this. I may have to pop over to Indiegogo and actually create an account to support this, but the animation, as you can tell, is just wonderful. And
Beautiful.
if they can pull off a full movie of this in $50,000, I am very much in support. But they have a whole bunch of concept art over there, all of differing styles that are just awesome. These all come with the various stages of the, as I understand, of the sport. So.
Yes, and right now they are at 70% funded at $34,773, and they have 21 days left. So hopefully we will be able to see a success for this project, which looks very. I love the art style. I love the mood that the trailer sets in. The little concept trailer sets in. I'm not a fan of horror movies. I mean, my husband takes me to them, and most of the time I just spend it like huddled in the seat with covering my ears and closing my eyes, but I would watch this.
I'm surprised that it's as little money as it is. That sounds a little low to me, to be able to create a film of this quality.
But then again, this is a professional who
He knows what he's doing.
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Or at least we hope we know, because again, remember, he can be a professional animator and artist, etc. But as we have seen with some of these projects, sometimes these creators are not the best people in estimating money.
Well,
Yeah,
at the
that was my concern.
At the
is that
same time, we don't know if this is like a 2-hour movie or not, or if we're talking. And if he is doing the majority of the probably most expensive portion of the work, then I can see it. I can see it as conceivable.
Yeah, and remember, this is not a full-length movie; it is a short film. So he's probably going for maybe a 30-minute, 20-minute runtime. So that's probably another reason why it is $50,000 instead of a lot higher.
I'm just saying, I've known a lot of professional animators. Like, I know someone whose entire job on this project was for. They were working on, what was it? Chicken Little, the animated Chicken Little movie, was clouds.
Yes.
That was a full-time job, just working on the clouds. So I am kind of hesitant to say that $50,000 is enough. And I know it's a short film, so maybe it's, whether it be 10 minutes or 30 minutes, I think that's a huge difference. I'm not convinced this is actually enough. So I'm hoping it will be because this looks like a great project, but I do have my reservations about this person's idea of how much it will realistically cost financially.
He could also be using a location and studio that's not American, so the dollars stretch further too.
Yeah,
As
but
long
then
as yeah.
I want my animators to actually have a good job that's paid in money.
Who
So,
knows? I'm going to keep my fingers crossed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as a caveat, having seen the recent Alice in Otherlands animations, yeah, American Mickey, I'm so disappointed.
Oh, well, McGee.
I was going to make that a topic for tonight, but I'm like, no, no.
American McGee kind of peaked in the 90s, and then it's just been one disappointment after another.
I love Alice and Alice the Madness Returns, and the concept of Otherlands, and I'm just gonna make this quick. The concept of Otherlands was very enticing, but after watching the Jules Verne animation, I'm like, number one, horrible animation. This is like they made it in Poser. And on top of that, Jules Verne.
I've seen better stuff on Poser, actually.
Well, they made it in Poser with the freaking anime filters. And Jules Verne's accent is so thick you cannot understand him
Ooh.
half the time. Their dialogue is forced beyond belief. And I don't know whether she shows up trying to be the aspect of fear or something or whatnot. It just made no sense. What do you fear? Let me pull out my knife. No. No, seriously, what do you fear? Tell me now. Tell me.
Like to quote, what is it that the comedian, I forget her name. I'm so sorry, I forgot her name. But she has this bit about how horror movies are for young people. She says, "You know what? Horror movies are for young people because I'm not really that worried about ghosts killing me. So, they kill me or whatever. I'm fine. You know what I'm scared of? I'm scared of this mole. It's the wrong shape. It's got, and she goes into this whole thing about it keeps changing shape and it's got hair in it and it's like she gives like all these symptoms of melanoma. It's very funny to me. Anytime that I hear people talking about going to a film, like, what are you afraid of? And I always want to say this mole, like. So that's a little bit of a non sequitur.
And other people are scared of you.
Well,
yeah, other people are terrified of me.
Speaking of things that we should be afraid of, this is a Chinese? I've forgotten. I've lost. I think it's Japanese.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Over Your Dead Body.
Oh, that thing.
Oh, that thing. Thank you. There is. It's a Japanese movie. The official U.S. trailer has been released. Mm-hmm. It's coming from Scream Factory TV. It is a strange little show about two actors in a play, and the lines between the play and reality start to get a little blurry and horrific.
So like Black Swan.
It's a bit Black Swan-y, except I don't know if this is purely inside the actress's head. Spoilers. Sorry.
Yeah, you're the worst about that.
You're the worst. Well, I do
But
not...
Black Swan has been out for a while, so
Yeah.
like anybody's like, how dare you tell me that this happened? I really that information has been public information for so long.
6 billion years.
By the way, the chick in the crying game is a dude. I'm sorry, was that a spoiler?
Yeah.
The chick what? I'd never seen the Crying Game, but whatever.
Oh, did I spoil that for you? Sorry.
This is the problem of doing a show with Drew. He will spoil everything.
I don't.
He doesn't care.
You should have a show called Drew Spoils Everything.
Called Drew ruins everything.
Hey,
Prevents everything.
hey, at least if it's current, I try and warn you. If it's not current,
You warn us after you say it, like spoiler.
no, no,
By the
no.
way, so a
Let me
spoiler
let me put
warning.
it this way: Crying Game is at least 15 years old. So if
Okay.
you haven't seen it, too bad. So
Okay,
So, guys, we are running short on time. So,
move on.
so moving
Yes.
on.
Crimson
Next
Peak.
up, Crimson Peak. This is just I found this very interesting. Crimson Peak, Del Toro. As we know, Pacific Rim was extremely popular in China, and Crimson Peak perhaps is not going to be so popular in China because there is apparently a interesting little rule in Chinese media,
There's a film bureau that basically has a no ghosts
a no
rule
ghost rule. Yes,
in China. The rule is basically it prohibits any films that promote cults or superstition, which might pose an otherworldly problem for this movie.
so and which is a shame because I've heard it's a really, really good movie.
I still
I
need
haven't
to
seen
see
it.
I still need to go see it.
I really want to see it. I've heard nothing but very good things about it. It's kind of weird for me because Mia Wasikowska, I think I've said this before,
Yes.
but she looks just like my old roommate, but added about 5 years. And so it's always really strange whenever I watch a movie with her because I just go, "Oh yeah, it's my friend."
I may go
I'm
see
not
it
saying her name,
tomorrow.
but
I may see it tomorrow. So
yeah.
Sunday. So
Sunday.
moving on, that was just my little tidbit. Moving on, Ghostbusters the remake. Mouse, you want to take this one?
So, so Kristen Wiig has said to the world that she is very, very surprised and disappointed by the amount of criticism heaped on Paul Feig for the concept that it would be a female-led reboot. She said that she's bummed out. And some people said that some really nice things about the fact that there were women. It didn't make me mad. It just really bummed me out. We're really honoring these movies. So, okay, disclaimer, we know it's the internet and we know there's going to be a large percentage of absolute raging cocks out there who, no matter what you do, are going to be total assholes.
And there
So,
are going to be people who will really bash the new Ghostbusters because they're women, even if
Yeah.
they won't admit it.
exactly. You have that section of assholes that are not worth wasting time on.
Yeah.
I do think that there are some people who have some reasons to have some reservations about this movie, mostly because of the way it was marketed and the way it was announced. The first thing we heard about this movie was, "Oh, it's going to be an all-female remake of reboot of Ghostbusters," and then we didn't hear anything more for months. So to a lot of people, it felt very gimmicky. And the problem that they're setting themselves up with is this. The first movie is, of course, a classic. People love it. The second movie maybe wasn't that good, but still not bad. Definitely not as bad
You
as some
have a
others.
problem with Baby Beagle? Huh?
Baby Vigo. All hail Baby Vigo. Thank God for Baby Vigo. But the problem is this, and I can see why they did this. If they thought, well, if we do a sequel, we're going to be standing in the shadow of the original movie. And if our movie's not strong enough, then we're going to probably kill the franchise. Or, kill any opportunity to commercialize on the franchise and nostalgia for maybe 20 more years.
Or they just don't want to, have to live up to that.
Right, but the problem by doing a remake is this: that you're basically going, okay, well, with a reboot, sorry, you're basically going, well, none of this technically happened, none of the characters that you knew happened, so these are the characters instead, and they have the original the original surviving cast members having cameos in the movie. So a lot of people,
Actually, I've heard that's not necessarily true anymore.
it's not true anymore. Oh, interesting. So, but I know that Bill Murray said that he would be, but if he changed his mind, this could get interesting.
That was the one I heard was no longer true.
That's interesting.
Well, the source that we have right here that we are working off of, that Mouse and I are at least working off of, says that Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd are both involved.
So as far as we knew,
Not much.
So-
Ernie Hudson.
the problem with that particular thing is that whenever you remake or reboot a franchise, and it's a well-loved franchise that did not have a bad movie, and you have a lot of people who have emotional investments on those characters and the portrayal of those characters. I mean, who doesn't love geeky Harold Ramis as Egon Spengler and Bill Murray as Peter Venkman? So it's kind of and I guess people have this emotional discord seeing, oh, the new Ghostbusters, the actual Ghostbusters, but it's these women instead. And here's Bill Murray, and here is Dan Aykroyd, but they're not Peter and they're not Ray. They're these totally different people. What basically, by trying to reboot a franchise, you're basically saying, well, we have to put forth a product that is better than the original, or it can stand just as strongly as the original. But then you go and undermine it by bringing members from the original cast who will remind the audience, hey, these were the original Ghostbusters, and these were the people who created this franchise. So again, you're going to have a lot of problems. I don't think that Feige has really thought very thoroughly about how he wanted to get this across. And I hope that the movie is good, but it's going to have a mixed reaction, no matter what he does, because of how it has been handled up until this point.
All right.
Um,
Go ahead.
I haven't seen the movie yet, so I'm trying to hold back on any kind of reservations because it could really be good, and it might be a really nice tribute to the original movie.
Yeah.
No
I'm
trailer
just-
or anything
so-
are up
yeah.
yet, so I
Yeah.
tried. I tried to find something to show, but there was no trailers or anything
No.
yet.
What I'm talking about is what the fan reaction will probably be. And we know this is a very nostalgia invested fandom. So I predict that it is going to be a very mixed reaction. Even if the movie is really good,
Well-
you will have people that go, well, Dan Aykroyd and
I mean, that's a
Miller.
given.
I-
That
I-
would be the same for anything.
I look at it this way: you're going to have the people who are the current fans, but if the movie is any good, it's going to develop its own fan base. So it's just like Star Trek Next Generation versus the original Star Trek. You're going to have the people who say, "Oh no, you can never have a new series," and then the new series comes out and it's extremely popular, and they're like going, "Old series what?"
Yeah, I hope that Wig and her co-stars have this in mind instead of, I hope they can see the forest for the trees.
Kristen Wiig's really intelligent from what I've seen, so I really think that there's at least a very good chance that this will happen. The big problem is whether or not the big wigs
Can interpret the signs correctly.
will agree with that interpretation, and whether
Yeah.
they say, "Oh well, you must have this and this and this and this." Certain amount. You must have this many shots of you in your underwear because you are female. Like
Oh, God.
we don't need that as for Ghostbusters. But anyway, I honestly think that it has a really good chance of being good. There are some good creative minds behind it. I don't know if it'll be as good as the other movie, but if I remember correctly, the original movie wasn't even the original material. I think there was comic books or something that it's based off of.
No, they were.
I could be wrong.
The original movies were inspired by a series of novels from the 1920s and early 1910s and 1920s called Carnacki the Ghost Finder. For example, he had what he called an electric pentagram, which was the inspiration for the Ghost Trap. But the original material, the material that inspired Ghostbusters, is only. I would say it only really inspired the lore, not how everything was written. Because with Carnacki, he talks about all of these tomes and all of this. It's basically he created the whole concept of the parapsychologist investigator,
Yeah.
with magic, etc. Basically, the character that Egon Spengler would become. But yes, they were inspired by that, but it wasn't really an incarnation of the earlier material.
Well, in any case, I think it has a good chance of actually being pretty good. Well, we're gonna see. My big thing is as long as they don't try to turn the Ghostbusters theme into some kind of a big hip hoppy.
Oh God, no! Please, no!
Thing.
Don't do that! No! It'd be like
But-
trying to turn the Wonder Woman theme into like a hip hop theme too. Or
Like honestly, that was my biggest problem with the new Fame. Other than that, every time they had a classical musician, they showed the classical musician is miserable, and they really just wanted to perform other kinds of music. Like, what?
Yeah,
I don't know any classical musicians who do that.
Well, you did one, but they didn't last very long.
Well, that person never considered themselves a classical musician in
True.
the first place. So, and well, other than that, they really did some very strange things with the original, Fame. thing.
Fame,
I was like, you didn't need to do that to it. You really didn't need to do that to it.
true.
All right.
So,
So
yeah.
I'll cross my fingers for it. I'll give it a shot. So moving on. Next up, quick in the Star Wars news. There was a monument of Vladimir Lenin in Odessa, Ukraine, that was supposed to be torn down. And the villagers decided, no, we don't want to tear it down. Let's, in fact, remake it. It is now the first official monument to Darth Vader.
The lesser of two evils, right
The
there.
lesser of two evils.
I will have you know, his campaign slogan that is currently going viral right now is "Together we can rule the universe."
I love
Not
it.
lesser of two evils.
I'm
The
a
lesser of two
firm
evils.
believer in that accuracy, yes.
Yeah. So
So if you're ever
I just
in
want to
Odessa
declare.
in the Ukraine, please
Visit-
pay homage to the dark side of the Force.
Visit Lord Vader.
Visit
I know
Lord
where I'm
Vader.
going for my honeymoon if I ever get married.
Woo!
Odessa, Ukraine.
So
Does boyfriend
next
know
up, Prometheus 2 and Aliens 5. Mouse, you gave us this topic. You take it.
I didn't give you that.
I didn't grab this. I don't recall.
That wasn't me.
My God, the aliens are. This is the doing of Bob Ross.
Damn you, aliens!
This is
Well, since nobody actually cares
we actually
about this,
have actually I do have some information on this, but let's do it for next week so I can talk about this a little bit more at length because we're running short on time. So
Well, we're not running that short of time. We still have 15 minutes beyond the thing.
yeah, but we
Okay.
also have to bring up some more controversial topics.
Okay, well, next up, Ant-Man, just as a quick notice, Peyton Reed will be returning to direct the sequel to Ant-Man, which is Ant-Man and Wasp. I believe that's currently slated for 2017, if I recall correctly. So just a heads up on that one. That's really all that's got to be said. So moving on,
man, I have to wait that long.
suck it up and deal.
Actually, I like
You'll
that.
have plenty of Marvel material between now and then.
Yeah.
Next
Anyways.
up is Batman.
Yes, Batman.
Yeah, so there are rumors revolving around the first solo Batman post, Batman v Superman cluster.
Cluster.
Whatever.
Dawn of Clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Dawn of Cameo Clusterfuck.
And what's controversial is that it supposedly involves the Red Hood appearing, as well, in addition to the Joker being there, and who, Jared Leto, whatever. But one of the rumors in the mill is that we all thought Robin was dead. And apparently he's not.
Oh, God.
Because what's supposed to happen in the Batman movie is Nightwing's supposed to appear.
It goes to support my theory that it wasn't that was actually
Jason Todd.
that was Jason Todd, and that wasn't
Where is
what's his face?
Dick Grayson?
Yes, that wasn't Dick Grayson's costume.
The
But
question
the thing
is,
is Jason Todd is the Red Hood.
yeah.
Yeah, but he comes back in the comics, so
Uh,
Oh my God, are we gonna have Lazarus pits all over the place?
We'll see.
Ra's al Ghul everywhere.
we'll see.
So, I'm throwing that on the pile of reasons to hate the Batman movie now.
Well, at least I'm glad that Dick Grayson is not dead. The greatest ass in the universe deserves to be alive. But it kind of does bring up the
Ash
question.
as in buttocks.
Yes, buttocks. It does bring up the question of where is he during, Dawn of Justice? Because we are seeing everybody else, but someone who should be working by Batman's side.
And I still question, where was everybody during the Superman business?
Yeah, where was Wonder Woman?
They are going to establish that in Batman v Superman. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
They are going to establish that.
I'm
so.
sure.
Here's hoping.
I was off planet.
They actually have
miraculously.
shown clips of Ben Affleck, pulling people out of collapsing buildings in Batman v Superman commercials.
Well, that's where Batman was, but I'm less
Yeah.
concerned about where he was as where was Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that's
Well, yeah, they only showed Wonder Woman for a few seconds, so they'll probably establish that she was off-world or in somewhere else.
She could have
where
been in
lots
Hades.
of other terrible things were happening. you know.
She
for
could have
all-
been in Hades. That's probably what I would go for. She was in Hades at the time.
So
yeah.
they are at least going to establish where these different characters were, or at least they've shown that they're at least going to establish where Batman was, and I think because they're going back and showing what was happening from these other angles in the from that because they're going back and they're showing the same events from different angles. I think they're going to do the same thing from Wonder Woman, or at least have some kind of a blip about, oh yeah, I was out like underwater doing this thing with the Atlanteans, because we already know that they're going to have Atlanteans in this. So goodness knows.
Me and
All right.
me and Aquaman were having a thing, and
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess that since I opened, no, as Jim Sterling opened with a poem, I should mention that thanks to CC and Drew telling me that Arkham Knight is back on the Steam page, on the Steam store, and people are still kind of pissed. So Warner Brothers released a statement saying that they're very sorry that many of our customers continue to be unhappy with the PC version, and that up until the end of 2015, if your experience of Arkham Knight is still a steaming pile of shit, you can get a refund.
although they didn't say steaming pile of shit.
No, that they should have, honestly.
There are some people for whom it's working a lot better. There are obviously others for whom it is not. They have shown the reviews currently on Steam right now are mixed instead of all negative, and they're probably keeping some of the other negative reviews from beforehand still up, so they may actually have a lot more positive reviews than we think. Just putting that out there, because they're probably still factoring in these older, really negative reviews where everything is awful.
Everything is awful. Although I do have
Awful.
everything is awful. Although I do have to point out, this should have never happened, Warner Brothers. You should have done it. You should have not done this.
But at least they're fixing it. They're actually addressing the problems rather than just going,
I know, but they still broke it, so they don't get any points in my book. At this point,
Yeah.
they're in negative points. So what they're doing, if they start doing it correctly, is actually add to the negative points. So if they end up at a sum of 0, I'll consider them absolved.
So shall we move on to Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad, the edgy McEdgy of the 90s movies.
I'll let you take it.
So, David Ayer is the special snowflake, has told us how Suicide Squad is so different from the other comic book movies. Now, mind you, we've already had the whole press kit and press gang telling us how Jared Leto is going to go insane and how he's going to be locked up after he's done with this movie, and that he sent his coworkers dead rats because he's so into character. Ayers,
And how DC doesn't do superhero movies.
And
They
it's
do
just-
movies about characters who happen to be superheroes.
superheroes, yes.
that was the thing with Jared Leto, sending his coworkers rats. That's like a 14-year-old's idea of what is edgy.
Yeah, here's the thing. The whole
Not to insult any 14-year-olds that are watching. I mean that in a I'm sure there are a lot of you that are far more mature than that.
Yes, I'm quite sure too. However, the whole problem of this is that this really does feel like a 14-year-old's idea of what is edgy. The whole thing, he talks about, David Ayers. I will quote him from his interview with Empire Magazine.